Just wait for a few more people to get in, guys. If can people just quickly leave a comment, just make sure I can see all the comments. That'd be greatly appreciated. Yeah, comments are working. Yeah, cheers for the comment, that Luke. Greatly appreciated. Just give it a few minutes. I'll wait for the people to get in. So today's live stream is I'm just going to quickly talk about the best way on how to protect your troops during war or raid events or something like that. You are a free player. Yes, I am a non-spending player. I am Adam. Jose, thanks for the comments. Jordan, what was the reason you couldn't get high troop levels? What kingdom are you in? Is it Soda, or is it Lunar Kingdom? Yeah, follow this video, there's plenty of ways you'll be able to hide your troops during a kingdom war or the other events, so yeah, please stay tuned. I shall Luke, not everyone has the gold or to shield. Of course, what about if you want to participate in the event? This is plenty of other ways about using your gold. You are right, bubble does equal no trouble, Adam. However, like I say, if you're doing raid, for example, and you want to actually participate in the events in the kingdom, bubbling every event is you're not exactly playing the game, then are you? So this should help everyone anyway. Anyway, guys, if you want to put your UID into the comment section, the devs of the game have said in the intro to this game that they will give away 100 free gifts to anyone who puts their UID in. And how to get your UID is just go to the picture in the top left corner here. Your UID is there underneath your lord name. As you can see there, mine 819498884. Just copy and paste that into the comment section. Yeah, Gary, that's going to be one of the things I'm going to talk about, Gary. How to hide them in the Barbarians. That's one of the best ways. Wow, Coco was in your kingdom. My kingdom's 5308 and our big dog is Young. We are a Korean kingdom, so Young, this guy here is our big dog at the minute. I think his stats are like 34 to 36k, I think. That's our big guy. Right, let's get into the main bulk of this video. So, guys, my name is Money Freak. I am from Kingdom 5308, which is newly merged. I say newly, it's been a few months now, but before that I was Kingdom 786. In this video I'm going to talk about how to protect your troops during a war. That being said, in the comments, of course, the best way to protect the troops is the bubble. Our kingdom, since the merge, has been at somewhat of a war now, so hence why all the bubbles around our alliance. So yeah, like I said, bubbling is the best way to protect your troops, of course, but there are other ways. Not everyone has enough gold to bubble, or they actually want to participate in the event. So there are plenty of other ways. A lot of the other ways I'm going to talk about is very much on how many troops you have. If you've got 10 million troops, you're never going to be able to protect them all. So my advice to all the other players, small or big, if you don't have the stats to be able to, take a hit, I would try and keep your troops to a minimum of what you can actually send out. So as you can see, my troops are I've only got 2.5 mil troops I have, which if I put all my march capacity buffs on, I can there or thereabouts protect all my troops by other means, not of bubbling. So like I said, guys, bubbling is not the only way to protect your troops. Another one you can do, if you've got farms with gold, for example, or someone else is going to be bubbled for 24 hours, or they're good at bubbling like daily, and they're never unbubbled, what you can do is reinforce their stronghold. That means you don't have to have the bubble, but of course it would mean that all your resources inside your castle at that time would be vulnerable. If you did get attacked, obviously, then resources will go. Paulina troops are meant to die in battle. Yep, there are. As long as your VIP is active, the hospital and sanctum should be able to cover a lot of your troops that do die during war. But you are right, troops dying is a big game aspect of the game. But of course preventable if you are smart. So like I said, if you've got no bubble or gold, what you can do is reinforce other people. So that being said, you can reinforce. I've got no buffs on at the minute, so I'll just show you how many I can protect without all my buffs. It is most of mine. So with buffs, I can probably get an extra 600k hidden. So you see right there, I've gone from 2.5 million on my castle to only 880 left. Like I said, I've got no buffs on at the minute. If I had buffs, I'd be able to get a lot more out. But that's why I said to try and keep your troops down to only what you can send out would be my best advice. It makes the game more enjoyable, because if you are in war, then you can actually participate in that war rather than having to bubble. So step one, reinforcing other bubbled strongholds is a very good way on how to hide your troops. While I'm going through all these guys, if there's anyone in the comments want to put any other ways they hide their troops, I've got no sheet of paper in front of me, so I'm completely not winging it, but I'm just trying to use my experience. I've been playing the game now 4 years, so it's just all the stuff off the wing that I'm saying. But if there's other ways that I may have missed, please do let me know. So someone said already, who was it? Yeah, Gary mentioned before you can put them in Barbarians. Barbarians is a really good way to protect your troops, but of course it'll only be for the length of time that you put them in the Barbarian. Turn the music off, yeah, bear with me. Normally it's quite loud for people wearing earphones, but of course I will turn it off. Can you hear me now? Is that alright? Or do I need to move my mic a bit closer? Please let me know before I continue. Right, we'll continue anyway. Like I said, guys, barbs are probably the second best way you can protect your troops. But of course, like I said, it's only going to be for the period of time you set the barb for. Obviously, a maximum of an hour. Of course, when you're doing stuff like raids or KVKs in another kingdom, you won't be able to participate in this method, because you, of course, can't rally a barbarian in another kingdom. But for internal kingdom wars or if someone's raiding your kingdom and you want to participate in a battle with them, then you can use this method. So it's a quick method. Oh god. My USB is very temperamental, unfortunately, guys, so if this happens, just bear with me. I've just got to plug it in and out again. It is not helpful. I do need to invest in a new one massively. Right, we're back. So it's a quick way because you can search the barbarians by using the search method here. So you start from 45 or whatever. You'd find one. You'd rally for an hour. And then you've got to make sure that it's not the same one, because obviously you can only rally one barbarian from each barbarian camp. So you'd move down a level. Not in that one. 39. So like I said, this is a quick method. Well, I say quick. You see, it doesn't take too long. My stamina's low now, so I can only do 4 out of 5. So while I'm saying stamina low is a good point, if you're going to be in a KVK, not KVK, if you're going to be in a raid situation or an internal war, and you want to use this method, always make sure you have 100 stamina to be able to use your 5 marches. At the minute for demonstration periods, I didn't have 100 stamina, I only had 80, so I can only use 4 of my marches. But like I said, when your troops are in a rally, they are no longer in your stronghold, so they are safe. I'll probably prove that now. Actually, there's only 983 now in my stronghold, so they are now safe for an hour. Of course, if I wasn't bubbled, someone attacked my stronghold and all my troops were protected during this process, then they wouldn't be hit. But similarly to the reinforcements of the stronghold, any resources that are open will be lost. Like I said, guys, this is probably, if you are attacking a hive, for example, barbarians are the best way to protect your troops. I would say it's what I use all the time as well. A lot of players I see use the barbarian method. Similarly, what you could do is send a rally to anyone not in your alliance. So set a 1 hour rally to the enemy, possibly of the people you're attacking, for example. That does have its benefits. The benefits are that they're in close proximity to your castle, so it's very quick to do so. The only negative I would say with that is if they are online, they could quickly move. They could quickly teleport their castle, which will bring your troops back, which then will make them easy to hit. You see it quite often. People don't realise that they're rallying a farm. Someone's farm they can quickly log on to, and let's say someone strong sends you a march to attack you. What would happen? They'd wait for like 2 seconds before that march hits you. They would then teleport the castle that you are reinforcing, so your troops will be there ready for that hit. I've seen that quite often, so please be aware not to get caught out with that. Queen Lana, hello. Yes, I am back from my holidays. Good to be back and good to be streaming again. Please help me out like always. I'm talking about the best ways to keep your troops safe during war. So far we've talked about the fact of reinforcing other alliance members that are bubbled, and we have talked about sending rallies to barbarians for an hour. Now I'm just talking about the fact that you can rally enemy strongholds, but the negative effect of that is they could quite happily move, and that would mean the troops would then go back to your castle. So you always help me out, Queen Lana, so if I do miss anything out, please let me know, and nice to see you again. So like you say, guys, at the minute I can only do 4 out of 5 because I didn't have stamina, so my advice would be to, if you go into the war and you want to use this method, make sure you have 100 stamina. The next thing you can do is you can send your troops, if you have very little of them, this is, to the places such as the Alliance Mine or a tower or the fortress. Of course, you can send one to the mine and the fortress, but you can't do plenty of you can't do loads of towers. You can only send one march, of course, to an alliance building. So you can do one in the alliance mine and one in the like someone else here, they're protecting their troops in the fortress right there. So this would only obviously be able to use 2 marches worth of troops. So if you did have millions and millions, this won't be as effective, but it's a good way to be able to hide 2 marches. So I'll just show you there, you can gather there, and you can hide marches there. But I'll show you now, if you try to send one to another tower, for example, it says you've already sent a march to alliance buildings because I cannot send another. Queen Line has mentioned that you can also hide it in the limbo for Firelands and other events, which is true. I just did want to confirm with the developers whether I can actually say that on this live, but I can't remove the comments now, so that is a way, guys. I'll have a quick word with the devs, see if I'm allowed to explain that, and I'll probably do a YouTube video on that if it is allowed. Yeah, so watch out for that, because that's probably the best way, but of course you won't be able to log in. That's the only main thing about the limbo thing. So you see there, the 2 marches have now reached their destinations, and you can see that my troop numbers have gone down to 1.7 mil. So that, like I said, that's 2 marches hidden there. So if you had a small army, probably the best way. Only negative on that, I would say, is you've got to be careful when the alliance mine reaches 0 and obviously disbands, because your troops will head back home. And also, if you are connecting hives or connecting lines with the enemy, of course that fortress or tower you may be hiding your troops in may be able to be hit. Don't worry about Lana. I would imagine I'll be able to say anyway. So that's that method. So we talked about 4 methods so far, as well as obviously the nice little bubble you can do to be the safest. Wait, make sure my marches get back, and then I'll talk about what I think is the final method. 2 seconds. Lana, has anything happened interesting since I've been away? I had a good holiday. Got back yesterday, very jet lagged. But I was eager to get streaming again. Just trying to think before I try to pick up other ways. I suppose there's 2 more ways I could think of. So other ways, guys, what you could do is you could send your troops to a tile, whether that's in the in your area. Obviously not very safe because people can quite easily see it. But what you can do, you can go out to the sticks, way out in here, where obviously no one's going to be really researching. Of course. It always puts the number of troops that it would take to actually take all the resources there, but you can actually maximize that, so you can actually send a full march to a tile. But of course, if it's only 10,000, it'd be quick to gather. But if it's just a quick hide you're after, it's a good way, because obviously you have the time that it takes to get there, so half an hour, however long it's going to take to gather, and obviously the journey back home. So that is one way, and the other way I was going to talk, you can set up a tent. So of course that is very much to do with So if you send it to a level 2, for example, it's going to be quite quick coming home, although you've got the march coming there and back. The actual gathering time is not going to be very big. So probably the best thing to do is send a tent out into a random place. You can send a march there, and then you can like move positions in the corners of the map. This corner, for example, lay a tent there, which hides it quite efficiently, especially during raids normally, because you can do it like prior to the event starting, so people won't see your lines. The only negative about this, if you're doing it in an internal war situation, is that if someone is watching your hive, they could literally just watch where your lines are going on the kingdom map, and then watch where you lay your camp or go onto the resources mines, and then they can attack you that way. So I would only probably do the tiles and the camp method if it's during an event with other kingdoms rather than in internal war, and that means you can do it prior to the event. New fire lombos dropped, and the new KVK is coming not this weekend, next weekend, which I shall be streaming also, which should be fun, because I don't know anything about it myself, so we can all learn together. My best way to do it. Trying to think if there's any other ways apart from the glitch Lana. Is there any other ways you can think of? I knew it wasn't going to be the longest of streams today because I'm only covering one topic, which I think I've covered pretty well at the minute. And unfortunately, as the chat isn't as proactive as I thought it would be, it's going to be a short stream. So we talked about reinforcing other people's strongholds. We've talked about rallying barbarians. We talked about rallying other strongholds. We talked about the alliance mine and the alliance buildings. We've talked about camping, and we talked about sending them out to wherever resource mine. My Golem March, I actually haven't got a set Golem March yet. I just do the golems with all my marches at the minute, but there was a video that I did a live stream that placed a do you speak good English, do you, said? What I'll do after this live stream, I shall, or if you speak good English, if you type in on Google Kings of Avalon PvE March calculator, we've been through this on a live stream before, but that does give a very good Golem March. It's all to do with your stats. You put in your stats and what troops you have, and it will come up with a recommendation for what tiered troops to have. To have a Golem March, I've figured out, and a lot of other people have figured out beforehand, that having little infantry doesn't really do much to Golem, so you only have about 300 to 400 per tier of infantry. But unfortunately I don't have a Golem March because I am critical defense in my castle, so I only have 6 tiers of troops, so I don't really have a Golem March, unfortunately. But like I said, there is a calculator online which after this video I will put in for you. I shall just quickly reply to you. There you go, I just responded. Thanks for the comment. Yeah, Gollum March. A lot of people do want to see a Gollum March. So yeah, for that comment, I will send a link. It does help that the PV calculator. It really did send my Gollum March so much better than what it was without it. But without using, the best way to do is use your top. What did Lana say? Highest tier Bowman and Cav. I've actually figured, of course, that probably if you're critical defense. I think I found out that using all tiers rather than just your highest actually gives a better benefit for Gollum. But of course, a lot of people don't have all tiers; they only have critical defense, obviously, to use their critical hit chances. Just trying to think if there's anything else I can think of. And of course it was mentioned at the start, but the best way to obviously hide your troops is the bubble. Not everyone has gold, unfortunately. There's plenty of ways you can get a bubble. The best way to activate it is to go to your stronghold, city buffs, your peace shield, and you can either buy them with gold there. If you've got any already, you can see I've got a few 8 hours there. What you can also do is buy a bubble from the Alliance store here. Only an 8 hour one, unfortunately. If you did want to top up on some, you can go to the store and buy like 24-hour ones there just to stock up. Let's say you wanted to manage your gold, you could. Let's say I've got 2082k gold, which I've got at the minute, and I wanted to make sure I've got plenty of bubbles. I could buy, let's say, 82 24-hour peace shields and leave myself 200k. Just means that gold that I've got there, I know is gold I can use to speed up marches or whatever. So obviously gold is the best way. But of course you might want to actually participate in the war or the events. So the other ways I spoke about prior to this now are probably more beneficial. But like I said, it's important to make sure to keep your troops to a minimum that you can actually send out all your marches. Unfortunately, there's no way you'll be able to. There's nothing I can tell you on how to keep, let's say, 5 to 6 million troops protected. It's impossible. So that would be the only way, is the bubble with that, unfortunately. So if you're good enough to be able to get to maximum troop of, like 5, 6 million or 10 million or whatever you see nowadays, fair play to you. You probably don't actually need the bubble because you could probably take a few hits. But for the people with little amounts of troops, what I spoke about beforehand is probably more beneficial than bubbling. Just make sure that you keep your resources open in your stronghold to a minimum. Obviously this will help massively to keep unbubbled. That means all your resources are depleted, so they're safe. And then if you want to do any upgrades or anything, you'll just quickly open them from the bag. Guys, I think that's all I can talk about with this topic. I should have really chose 2 topics to speak about today. For my next one, I'll make sure I do 2, because they're normally half an hour per topic, and this one was quite a small one, unfortunately. So for my first stream back off my holiday, I'll leave it as a short one, and I shall see you all soon, guys. It's the bank holiday weekend for us in England, so I think other people have it as well. So if you are having an Easter bank holiday, please enjoy yourself. It's nice and sunny here at the minute, and I shall see you around soon, guys. Keep tuned for any YouTube videos that I post on. My YouTube is Money Freak. Please give it a subscribe, and I think my next planned stream, but I will do one beforehand probably. My next planned one is KVK, the new KVK, which is out not this weekend, next weekend. I'll be doing a good stream on that. Like I said, I don't know anything about it myself, so we all shall learn together. A time has not been confirmed for that one yet, so please stay tuned. Thanks guys, have a good weekend.